why don't we start with a non-controversial discussion about the Steam Deck? It's officially launched, and the general consensus is that so far, it's awesome. Polygon says, the Steam Deck is my new favorite console. Gizmodo says, Valve's Steam Deck is a glorious but unfinished dream console. Digital Foundry, console quality handheld gaming, believe it. The Steam Deck is incomplete, says Linus Tech Tips. Wait, what? Am I quoting my own publication?
That's actually pretty interesting.
That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen.
That's very meta.
Anthony's the one who put it in here, though, so it doesn't count as me quoting myself. But what I meant by all of that
does when you say it
is that the software is both polished and unpolished depending on where you look, because objectively speaking, it is not finished. Yeah, by all means. Okay, hold on. First, let me put away this thing.
I haven't seen the software at all, because when he handed it to me on the show, I think it was off.
Yeah,
you weren't nothing on the screen.
You weren't allowed to see it yet.
Yeah.
So you are on the home screen right now. So I'm going to talk through the good while Luke sits here and twiddles his thumbs.
Thumbs and haws.
Yeah, the good. The handheld mode UI is intuitive and functional with excellent integration with the Steam platform that makes Nintendo look old-fashioned. Anthony has a little note in here. They are old-fashioned, and you can't convince me otherwise. That's fair, Anthony. Nintendo manages to... They managed to deliver next-gen gaming experiences while living 10 to 20 years in the past. Yeah. Like, I don't know how they do it. They must have, like, a time machine.
It's really kind of wild.
There are plenty of useful features, like a tweakable performance overlay provided by Mango HUD. It is so cool. Like, you can actually see frame times in real time.
Okay.
It's freaking awesome.
Sweet.
The Steam Store now has a great on deck section that makes it easy to quickly find titles that are, well, great on the Steam Deck, and suspend and game save sync via Steam Cloud work awesome. But there's some bad stuff. There are some minor polish issues, such as inconsistent selection wrapping. The Steam Store doesn't yet have a good way to search for or filter titles that are compatible with, not verified for, the Steam Deck. Like, the store doesn't have just like a complete list of titles that work well on Steam Deck, which just is embarrassing, frankly, from my point of view. Steam Cloud saves don't really work together with Suspend in the way that Valve intends to make them work in the future, if what they've said is anything to go on. And the underlying Linux OS makes itself known from time to time with crashes and glitches that do, in fact, show up. Now, some reviewers are dunking on the Steam Deck for having poor battery life at full bore, but others have managed to exceed Valve's estimates via tweaking, which is one of the biggest strengths that reviewers have praised the Steam Deck for. It's hackable, it's customizable. It's a garden, but it is unwalled. Anyone can go in there and just plant stuff, and it's freaking cool.
Yeah.
Anthony, you fucking guy, okay? Notable Linux hater, Linus Sebastian from Linus Tech Tips, I'm reading this verbatim, has even gone so far as to use the Steam Deck as his only PC for a month to prove this point. And that starts today, by the way.
Oh.
So I recorded the video a couple of days ago, obviously, but the video was released today. So today is my commitment day. I will be using the Steam Deck as my only computer for the next month.
Okay.
I'm not at work.
So I guess we're not recovering that Halo rank.
No.
Okay.
No, I will not be playing any Halo Infinite for the next bit unless a way of playing Halo Infinite on the Steam Deck miraculously shows up. Now, okay, hold on. Tell me something. Does streaming count? Can I stream from my computer that I own? Because I brought it up in the review. That is a legitimate way to bridge the gap, the compatibility gap.
I would say as long as it's like noted, then yeah, sure, why not?
I want the community to tell me.
That's functionality of the device, right?
It is, and it's awesome. Now, I haven't played with Steam Remote Play in a while, so maybe this improvement happened a while ago, but I don't know what kind of black magic Valve and AMD have cooked up with this chip. That is some impressively fast decode. Wow. Like, you know how it used to be that you could sit in front of the machine that is actually running the game and have the handheld, and you could kind of see the jello?
Yeah.
Change, like kind of like that? Nah, dog. It's really good. It's really good. They say remote play only, no parsec. Okay, of course, that's one of the selling points. Okay, so yes, Yes, I'm allowed to play Halo Infinite as long as I'm remoting into my computer. That's another thing that was really notable about the Steam Deck, and this didn't make it into the review because it was already, I think, like 20 minutes long. Like, oh my goodness, I have to cut something. And that's that the remote play experience on the Steam Deck is just really good. You know what else is nice? It's hold on, let me see. It's 1, 2, 3, 4 button presses to exit a game. No going back to main menu if the game developer wants you to go look at their splash screen again.
So this is like Alt F4 equivalent.
Yeah,
cool.
The game is closed.
Yeah.
Very nice.
I really like,
so
something I immediately noticed was I launched into Doom. I believe this is Doom 2016. And it showed, I think while it was like installing some like compatibility layer stuff, it showed the controls that I should expect to use for the game.
Yep.
I actually think that's awesome.
Super awesome.
Very cool. It reminded me of the arcade system upstairs, how it will like light up, or it's supposed to, whatever. It would light up the controls that you're supposed to use for the game. It just removes like potential confusion. I think that's great.
Absolutely. It's super cool.
This is reminding me that I suck at shooters on controller, but it feels great. Yeah.
I played a little bit of Halo Infinite quick play, and I managed to get 3 kills, 1 death before I was like, okay, that's enough of this. Image quality wasn't great. Scaling down 4K to 720p, not amazing. I didn't test running the desktop at 1080 to see if maybe it would make some more accurate guesses. Text was basically unreadable though, so it was pretty rough. I didn't want to focus on that use case for the initial review because, and this was something that I really struggled with in the lead up to releasing the video about it, because we had gone from this very sort of structured, planned information release that Valve was working towards, where they had the early hands-on, then they had the hardware review, and honestly, they did an amazing job of being as open as I think is reasonable for us to ask as the media, while also setting reasonable rules for what's allowed and what's not at each stage of the game. Like the fact that they allowed me to pull out the thermal camera at that early hands-on.
It's pretty surprising.
That's really surprising. I was fully expecting them to say, are you effing serious, mate? And making me put it away, right?
Yeah.
Like, they've been super cool about this whole experience. But what that meant was that finally, once the guardrails were off, there were so many different angles that I could take on this that I couldn't possibly, conceivably have enough time to cover all of them, even though we had a solid 2 weeks. And there are a couple of things that contributed to that. One is that there's just, no matter how deeply knowledgeable you are about computers and computer hardware, you can't possibly know everything about every angle of this device.
Right.
So the way that I decided to tackle it was as a console. Here's the list of published games. Here's the store where you buy the games. Here's the experience of playing the games. And because we'd already reviewed the hardware, I was able to focus on the software experience and how it ties all of that together. But there are other ways you could have reviewed it.
Absolutely.
I mean, desktop mode was already enabled. You could have reviewed it as, really, I mean, this is a really great point that Anthony has in his notes here, and one that I wanted to include in the video, but like I said, I just ran out of time. You could review it as just the most potent just computer in its class. It's $400 for a quad-core Zen 2 APU.
That's crazy.
With RDNA 2 graphics, 16 gigs of RAM. And
it does technically have a screen.
And it even has a screen on it.
You can plug a keyboard and mouse super easy and just literally operate off of that. It wouldn't be like the greatest experience ever, but it'd be fine.
It'd be fine.
You add a monitor in, and now, whatever.
Like, holy smokes.
Yeah.
It's a super affordable computer.
That's sweet.
Another way that you could tackle it is you could focus on it from an emulation enthusiast perspective.
For sure.
Getting emulated. I mean, the Fox has already got follow-up videos up on his channel focusing on it as an emulation device. And that's a super cool use case for it, because similar to the Ioneo Next, which is my other favorite handheld right now, it's got enough power that you could actually run like Switch emulators on this thing. Like, that's super cool. That makes it capable of running basically every retro console, PS3 and down.
For people that missed out on the Wii U era, this is the best way to emulate Wii U because it like actually matches the controller.
Absolutely, right?
Super cool.
So there's just so many ways that you can tackle a device like this, and I just couldn't realistically cover it all. And contributing to that inability to cover every possible angle was the fact that Valve kept changing things. Yeah. So that's really where a lot of my incomplete angle came from, was because by Valve's own admission, like both in the lead up to the hardware review and the software review, I said, look, I need a commitment from you guys for some kind of like date that we can lock down and say, okay, we are reviewing it as of this. This is the experience. So we can freeze it and review it in that state. And they were like, while I understand that to produce videos takes time, we can't do that because we've got hundreds of development units out there and developers, and we're rolling fixes. Like they have been rolling fixes every other day, sometimes even multiple times in a single day. I've seen things.
Feels like nightlies.
Yeah, it really does. And all of that is in service of their goal to try to make this as good an experience as possible for launch. But what that also means is that Valve acknowledges that this thing ain't fully cooked yet. So that was really where that angle came from. And so that really interfered with my ability to write and shoot this review. So I actually pulled my first all-nighter in a very, very long time in order to make sure that our coverage of the Steam Deck would be as up-to-date as possible. And it's still. So the fact that it was co-hosted by me and Jake, that was because, one, I made a mistake on one or two things because I was writing this in like a fugue state at, between 1 and 7 in the morning.
You stayed up till 7?
I stayed up till 7:30 in the morning. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And part of it was that Valve actually dropped more updates on us the day that I shot it. So I was standing there. I was literally standing there on set. So this is on, to give you an idea of how tight this timeline was for this video. Hold on, let's go back here. No, don't save
one question while you're looking that up.
Yeah.
Did you post the straw poll link on all 3 platforms?
I did.
Okay.
I did. Okay, so hold on. Let's go back to my March view. So on the morning of the 23rd, so that is 2 days ago. So on the night of the 22nd, I stayed up till 7:30 in the morning going, okay, I want this as close to embargo as possible so that we can include as much as possible. Like, obviously, I'd made little notes here and there. But if I had nitpicky complaints or little things that I absolutely loved, or even a game that I was really enjoying, I needed to make sure that nothing was going to change in the Proton updates they were pushing or the OS updates.
That was even a big problem
they were pushing.
The Linux videos we made.
It was a huge problem.
By the time those videos went live, like so much stuff had changed. Games were magically compatible or not compatible all over the place.
Exactly.
Like, yeah.
So I stayed up on the night of the 22nd. I shot on the morning of the 23rd, and that video came out the morning of the 25th. Can we just like take a moment to bravo the freaking team here? Because to be honest with you guys, I shot the A-roll and then I effed off on a ski trip. I've been gone for the last couple of days. So everything else that happened, all the pickups, all the B-roll, all the fixes, was all the team staying back here, getting it done while I was on the slopes and hanging out in the hot springs.
Awesome.
So hold on, let me just see. So here's the email that I received while I was standing on set. Press update Wednesday night. Nope, hold on. Where's... So funny. LY, you are hilarious. Okay, 2 days ago, at 9:59 in the morning. Hi all, just a quick update. We've had a few questions about cloud gaming through a browser. There's a controller issue. There's a fix in the pipe. We've, no, hold on. There was an earlier one on Wednesday. Sorry, there was one at 9 a.m. on Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. We are around 48 hours from launch. Hope you're doing well. Everyone is heads down at this point, polishing the last few rough edges. We've shipped a couple of updates in the last few days, and I wanted to let you know what's changed in case it will impact your coverage or testing. So this is literally 48 hours from launch. Great on Deck store page. When you go to the store on Deck, there's a new landing page called Great on Deck. Fortunately, I stayed up till the middle of the night because that's when that rolled out to me. Otherwise, I would have had a whole section complaining about how the store doesn't have anywhere to see items that are great on Deck.
Yeah, because they said there was going to be, so it makes sense.
Okay. Multiple app switching. We added support for switching between multiple running applications through the Steam menu. Oh, well, that's non-trivial. This is great for playing a game while listening to music, chatting with friends, or even playing another indie game in the background. One small artistic license that we took in the video was that the call that Jake accidentally made to me in the middle of the night was actually a call that I accidentally made to Luke in the middle of the night. But for a number of reasons, Jake had to reshoot that section. So we changed the story. So I didn't realize on Tuesday night just how flippin' late it was. And I was just like, oh, you know what? I haven't even tried this voice chat feature, and I really want a trusted third party to tell me how good the mic is, because that's honestly just the most convenient way for me to make a call as to like how usable this is, and like play around with like in-game volume on the fly and be like, okay, how about now? How about now? How about now? Like getting that real-time feedback. And so I'm just like, oh, who's on? Oh, I'll call Luke. And it wasn't until like midway through the call,
something like that,
I think, that I was like, it is 1:30 in the morning. I just completely unannounced called Luke at 1:30 in the morning.
I was trying to figure out what the heck was going on because you called me on Steam. I have never in my life been called on Steam. So like actually for a decent amount of time, I actually had no idea what was happening, and then figured out that it was coming from Steam, which was confusing. And then it was you, so I was like, what?
Maybe he's tried on every other platform.
Yeah,
like, it's urgent. It's an emergency.
Did I miss the phone? Like, what? It's 1 in the morning. What's happening? And then he's just like, hey, man, I'm gaming on Steam Deck. Like, okay.
I was playing this really cool RPG demo.
Yeah, that's funny.
And chat's like, you can call on Steam?
Right? Yeah. And
right?
It was pretty good.
It was really good. I was super impressed.
Yeah. Like, it's weird.
Really impressed. The compression was not very noticeable compared to Discord. Like, should we just switch to Steam voice chat?
For like remote WAN shows, it might be a good idea because, like you said, it did sound clearer.
It sounded really good.
Yeah. I don't know. I expect video might be an issue, but I was very impressed.
Oh yeah, right. I wasn't through the list of things that changed 48 hours before launch. As mentioned in yesterday's update, you can add non-Steam apps to the Deck UI, like Chrome, Discord, Spotify, and more from the desktop. Oh yeah, pretty minor thing. New in-game overlay. Oh, there's a new in-game overlay. New startup animation and sound. Players can now change device name. Players can now remove non-Steam shortcuts from their libraries. UI performance improvements. Improvements to the account panel for offline mode. Improved navigation for what's new events. Timing updates for suspend, resume, flow. Store now displays, tooltips, and a bunch of bug fixes. So it's
like a massive version upgrade.
But these were rolling like every other day.
That's crazy.
And so covering this thing has been an incredible challenge. It's been unlike almost anything that I've ever done before. But while it made it more difficult, it also made me so much more excited for it. Like, it's the same way that Tesla owners will get just so jacked when Tesla rolls a fart sound update or something like that. It's not how, important that update is to your daily life.
Right. It's
that this product, it feels like it's evolving in your very hands.
And there's a lot of care.
Exactly. Like, the amount of passion that I've seen, just the responsiveness to not just emails, but to technical issues. Like, leading up to our hardware preview, the performance dashboard was broken. And we were like, well, this is going to be a problem. And there were clearly engineers, like, on it immediately. I don't think we've ever gotten engineering support from a company like this before. Like, ever. Like, we had a problem. King the main for like it really did feel that way though, because we would have serious issues and they would turn around a fix like so quickly. And I know, and what it's like developing software.
Yeah.
It's not a 24-hour turnaround.
No.
Unless it's a very trivial thing, right?
Yeah.
So clearly they have been all hands on deck leading up to this.
There's some interesting things to potentially be said about Valve's like workplace culture, how they are extremely flat for the vast majority of the company, not technically all of it, but the vast majority of the company. And you can sort of decide to work on whatever you want, but if you pick something, you have to take ownership of that thing and like all this kind of stuff. I bet you there's a lot of ownership take on Steam Deck.
Absolutely.
I bet you Valve actually just like cares a lot internally. And there's probably a very skilled and big team working on it.
Something I really wanted included in the video. By the way, check this out. Check this out. I did this demo in the video, so this isn't new for them. I'm just gonna put this to sleep. Holy crap.
That was fast.
Incredible, right? I'm just gonna wake it up. I am back in the game.
That was great.
Freaking amazing. I am playing. I am now playing the game again. Unreal, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, Doom, not Unreal. Funny joke.
Yeah, that doesn't remind me of sleep on Windows at all, ever.
I think that Valve sees this as an existential problem to solve. And I'm going to defend that. I'm going to defend that. Not because Valve is in any danger of running out of money, or because Valve's money printing machine is going to run dry anytime soon.
Right.
But for Valve to be perceived as a different kind of company than what, say, for example, Epic Games is running with the Epic Games Store, this was the next step. And it's clear that this has been in their sights for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
We just are not big brain enough to have seen it. Everything they've done in the last 10 years lands here. Seriously, big picture. Steam controller. In-home streaming, which is now called Remote Play.
Even Steam VR to a certain degree.
Everything brings us to this. To Valve wanting to be a platform company as opposed to a store. And this, if I'm a developer, and there was a really good chat in Floatplane asking, how many units do you think Valve has to sell before developers seriously start to target Linux and start to target the Steam Deck? If I'm a developer and I'm salty about Valve's 30% take, all of a sudden, it's validated. I see this as such a game changer that for certain types of games, controller first, portable first games, they get enough of an install base out there. So what? I could go on Epic Games Store and
30% is still pretty brutal.
It's pretty brutal, but it's on par with what Microsoft and Sony are doing.
I'm not saying it's not on par.
I think that you can sustain yourself at that if Valve provides you with an install base and promotes the game. Like if they take on more of a console manufacturer role,
right,
as opposed to just being a big fat download pipe,
right,
and some community services that arguably were left to rot for a very long time, for years actually, before they started to kind of wake up to some competition.
Yeah.
So I see this as a significant evolution in Valve's business, where they go from being a storefront to being a game console manufacturer. Did you have any thoughts to share now that you're allowed to just say whatever you want about it?
No, it felt good. I still have the same kind of type of concern that I originally had with the thumbsticks, but I also don't know of a device that has that much room for thumbsticks that is better. So
yeah, I think that's fair.
That is what it is. It feels pretty good.
Keeping your pre-order?
Yeah.
What do you plan to use it for? Because you mostly stay at home.
This is one of my, like, you know how I had every single prototype of the Oculus headsets?
Sure.
This is one of my, like, this feels like a fairly historical hardware launch.
Got it. So you want to experience it.
Yeah.
Yep. I think so too. I mean, I said in the hardware review that I believe this is the most innovative PC in 20 years. And the only reason that I went with 20 years is because that's the time that I've been paying attention to computer hardware.
Yeah.
So to go back farther than that, I would have to do a ton of research, probably farther than that. But that was just from my own experience, what I could say with confidence.
And this is also like with how much I've seen it, and I knew this when it was first announced, this is something that I'm going to want to find excuses to use because I just find it so interesting. And like the amount that they're updating and stuff, that's very interesting to me. I will follow the updates once I have one. I'm not going to follow them before then, but like it's very exciting. It's very interesting, and I don't want to miss out on it, which is why I'm going to keep the pre-order.
For sure.